Alright YouTube, I'm going to make my first video because I'm pissed off at Hyundai for making their brakes the way they do. It's called a captive rotor. The rotors go on a whole different way than 99% of every other car on the planet. Bolts for the rotor are here and the rotor comes off. So the only way to get that rotor out of here is to separate the hub from the spindle or the knuckle or whatever your terminology is. So I did one. I didn't think it could be possible. I didn't think I had the tools, the talent, the time. But you know what? I didn't have the budget to take it to Hyundai. I said, screw that, I'm going to try it. I tried it on one and it was successful. I did it and it worked and I'm all good to go. So I'm going to show you because the pisser is, I searched YouTube, I searched Google, I searched everywhere on the interwebs, and I couldn't find hardly any information. There was one guy that kind of showed half of the job. And then there's Brian, I love Brian, but nobody really had a full step-by-step. I'm going to try to do that today. Limited on time, I got about 2 hours probably. I'm going to see if I can do this, because I did one, so usually the second one's the easier. So we're going to do it. First thing, this is straight off the car, so it's nice and dirty all in here. I'm going to get a wire brush and clean all this up. I don't care if anything falls in there now. I don't care about this seal because I'm going to replace it. If you're going to try and save it, good for you. They're about $6 a piece. You do need 2 per wheel. You need 4, and you should be doing both with axles at the same time on both sides. So, speaking of seals, I'm not going to save this seal. I need the bearings either, because you're going to see that when we pull this bearing, the dirt's going to get in there. I got to loosen the rotor off the hub first. So let me get my wrenches. Here we go. I don't care about this rotor. I don't care about these bearings. I don't care about the seals. The mission right now is to tear it the hell apart. Yeah, if I had a socket, it would make life. Let's a vise here. We're going to need a vise. As you can see, the rotor is loose. The only way to get her out is to beat the fuck out of it. Now, Hyundai makes a nice special tool. So anyway, we're going to bang the hell out on this. It has to be supported by the rotor. That's why we need to unbolt it so that the hub can come away. If we just left the rotor bolted on there, it wouldn't move. It just wouldn't move. So we're going to put it on there. We need to hit on this inside of this spline, which is exactly 1 inch. Thank you, the other friend of mine. You too. A 1 inch. That's a impact driver, so it's hardened metal. And the nice thing, it's nice thick construction all the way around, and it's got a nice flat surface. Nice thick flat surface. It goes all the way around. So put it on here. I'm going to use a framing hammer. You need something pretty substantial. Bertha, I call this one, because Bertha's a bad. I'll show you can do it with this one. It's going to take a couple of really good hits. You see it's starting to move. And right there, it's gone. So see, it pulls out your outer bearing. And see, now there's shit that's going to fall in there. See, there goes that one. The rotor. See, priorities to get this one off. And that's a bitch if you don't have the right tool. And of course, I don't have the right tool. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, well, let's start here. So, one of the things we're going to do this next. Not next, but after we get done. Yeah, there's grease all in there. There's these inner races, or actually I guess they're the outers, and there's 2 of them. There's one here, and there's one over here you can see. Looks the same, one here, one here. They're the same. It's the same bearing in and out. And the way to get them out is that inside here, there's a space between the 2, and there are 4 notches in there that we're going to get a drift pin But you'll feel when you get to this point, you're supposed to use a drift pin. A brass drift pin is preferred, and this is the Hyundai way to do it. This is how they say. So, I don't have a brass drift pin. I'm going to use a screwdriver. As long as you're careful not to scratch up this inner surface, which I'll show you. So we're going to get to that. But first, we need to get this inner bearing off of this hub. They do make a special tool. It's called a bearing separator or bearing splitter. It's like 2 C's. Well, I've seen one guy cut this cage off, take the rollers out, and then you can clamp that on and it'll pull up. I've seen another guy just clamp that bearing separator on there, clamp it, and pull it right up. I don't have a bearing separator, and I'll show you how to get it off for free with minimal damage. There probably will be a little damage, but it's not going to affect it. So, let me get my grinder out. You're going to need a grinder. Alright, plug her in. Here's my grinder. Let's see where we're at. Alright, my grinder. Now I have a thin cutting blade as compared to a grinding wheel, which would be really thick. And I'm going to cut, the first thing I got to get rid of this outer cage. So I'm just going to should do it. You know, you're not trying to save any of this. You're not going to mess up the hub. You're just not. And I didn't get the lower side, so I'm going to go after it again. I'm going to not worry about the oil seal. I don't want to ding this up at all. I don't know what I'm doing. See, I'm not an expert here. I'm an expert. A little piece of iron. There we go. There we go. So, all right. Now that's the easy part. Coming over here. I want to do it. Let's see what we got there. Okay, heavy chisel. These are old and used and abused. Got a piece of wood I'm going to support that on, going down the concrete, because we want this to be pretty firm. We don't want to scratch up this top portion, which runs all the way down to here. So when I cut, I wanted to make sure I didn't cut all the way down into here. Now if I do a little bit, it's okay. So what I'm going to try and do is just trying to bang this top ridge out. Not really out, I'm trying to bang it down. It'll come out all by itself. And with the other one, I got it right about here, and I noticed it was starting to spin a little. Then I reached down and just picked it right up. But I'd rather go too shallow than too much. Let me see if it's very springy, so God, I'm just really surprised. Yeah, it's just coming right up right now. Hell no. Alright, this has got to be all cleaned up. I'm going to get these outer. I'm going to come back over here. Like I said, a brass drift would work. I'm just going to use a screwdriver. And we find our little... Pop a little. It's a coming. I'm trying not to scratch. I'm not trying to dig in. I'm trying to push down. It's coming. One more time. And that's it. And just fill it. So, but there's 4 little cut throughs that's going to allow me to get my screwdriver. I remembered using wood. Using wood is always good. I get a better angle on this, so I can come down a little straighter. It's almost out. Okay. So now we can clean this up. We'll clean it up and we're going to push in the new ones. That's our next job. Okay. So we punch those out. Now you can get a better look at those 4 openings that you can get your screwdriver in. I don't know. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4. In my first video, I don't know how good this camera's going to work. And I also get to check and see if I damaged it with my screwdriver. Because if I was using a brass drift, there would be no chance of damage. But steel on steel, you can scratch it, and I did. There's a little ding there, and there's just a tiny one here. The other side's perfect. The other side is perfect. So I got a little 400 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to just don't want it to get in the way of pressing the new piso bearing in there. And that feels good. That's gonna. Okay, so we'll clean her one more time. We don't need no metal in there. We don't need no metal. No, we need metal. We need some anthrax, Iron Maiden. And that's good. All right, I'm gonna go wash my hands because I want clean hands to do this. And I'll be right back. Okay, we're going to press in these inner braces. It's cheap, cheaper than, so you get 2 pieces. This is the piece that we're going to be pushing in on here, and these pieces will go eventually and all that. Hopefully in there. So let's start with one. I'm going to recover this. I just don't want it to get dirty. If I had transmission fluid, I would put transmission fluid in here. I forgot to bring some. I'm just going to use a little grease. I mean, just the tiniest amount. You don't want globs. You just want it to be wet. And the same thing, just make it wet. You don't want to push in dry bearings. And it's going to go like that with a fat side. There's a fat side and there's a thin side. The fat side goes down towards the inside of the hub. And here's the only tool that you pretty much have to use. I don't know. Would be a seal driver set that comes with a bunch of different things. I already have it, and a handle. And the one I want is right here. My local AutoZone, the wonderful AutoZone, has that tool for rental where you just basically, you buy it at full price, you walk out the door, and when you're done using it, you take it back, and they give you every penny back. So you rent it for free. Now there's 2 sides. We want the cupped side because that'll fit right in there, and it's smaller. I'm not going to go into detail about how to press these things because there's many other videos about this. It's really the dual I could not find one good video on a dual bearing that has an inner and an outer. I'm going to be doing the hard side first. Just get it as square as possible, just finger tight. Put that baby on there. Sit on one, right? Right like that. Yeah, you can see that, I guess. And then you just see it's low here and it's high here, so I'm going to kind of give it a little straighten it there. So now it's starting to go. Now it's straightened itself out right there. You can hear when it changes pitch. Make sure it's bottomed out all the way. Which it is. So we'll flip it around. This will open. This is our other one. And then I'm going to put this way. Grease. And grease. That side goes in. Goes, and boom. That is all we need from that tool. Now I can take that back to AutoZone. Make sure it's all the way in there, and we look good. So we're done with this one. Okay. Next we're going to pack bearings. I'm not going to show you a whole video on how to pack bearings. I'll show you a second of it. That we got to pack both bearings. We're going to pack one bearing and install it with a seal. And I'll show you. Alright, now I have to pack bearings by hand because I don't have a bearing packer. I'm not going to spend money on a bearing packer, even though it's only about $8, but it's something that I would never have needed in the past and I'm never going to need in the future. Alright, cone end down. I'm not going to really teach you. So it's a little bit of a pain. You know, it's not as quick as a bearing packer, but it's free. I made it all the way around. We got grease just shooting everywhere. Good, but it might expose some dry spots. All right, and we need to do the outer bearings. So that goes in there. Seal in. Now, this is supposed to also be a seal driver as well. Pop that in there too. But it just and you're supposed to use the flat surface. But this seal has like rubber ridges on there. I hope you can see that. Now we're ready for a special tool. Ta-da! Here's my tool. I'll show it to you this way. It's a piece of 5/8 thread all thread, and a nut. I don't need this one, just this one. This actually fits the inside of the bearing. I'll show you that when I take it off. A couple of washers, they're taking a beating. I might change that up a little bit because I had to torque the other one. Because what we need to do is press the hub onto the axle, or vice versa. And this is how we do it. So I have my other patch bearing here. I'm not going to worry about the seal. Ooh. See, that's going to fit right on. Okay, where's my hub? Where's my hub? Not much, don't take much. I'm going to start that here. That's why we got to put our seal on already. It's kind of messed up. This should go in fairly easy. It's not real super tough, not yet. Not until we torque it. When we torque it. Not twerk, torque it. Alright. It's tight enough where I can vise. Time to vise this baby in here. Other than, hear that sound? That's a good sound. It's supposed to be a little creaky like that. See, it's going in real easy. Welcome back. I don't know where I lost you. I had to switch over since these bolts were getting rounded with just my adjustable to a pipe clamp. And we torqued it to 100. Now we're going to 150. There we go. And with that, we'll be done. The only thing we got to do is put the